There it is. Yep, and that's why we come out here. Look at that. When I say I catch some good ones off these things, this is what I mean. Oh, gal skinny. Hey guys, welcome back to In It for the Limit. Today, we're going to try to do a couple of episodes. Don't have much time, probably have about 4 to 5 hours at most before storm pushes in. But one of the videos I'd like to do is just an overview of the double rig. We'll see if that happens today or not. And I just want to talk about how I like to tie it, how I like to fish it just over the past 40 years of using that rig. But in this video, what I want to talk about more is just weather and how to use weather to your advantage. So last night, we had a cold front push in and it dropped the pressure and it rained pretty much all last night and into this morning. It probably stopped about 11 o'clock. And it's pushed out just a little bit. It's starting to clear up. You might be able to see the sun popping out just a little bit. But it is going to start storming again probably about 8 o'clock. So that gives me about 4 or 5 hours. So it's not a pre-frontal system. We're right in the middle of a front coming in. So a lot of times when that happens, when you get that low pressure dropping, the fish will turn on. So that's the plan today, to see if we can use that low pressure and the weather to our advantage to try to put some fish in the boat really, really quick. But we'll see what we do. We'll see if we can get on the crappie and see what happens. All right, let's get to it. There we go. Sitting right on the bottom. And that is exactly what we're looking for right there. Nice looking crappie. I'd say probably go close to 12. Let's see. Close his mouth. Well, almost 13 there. Right at 13 actually. Yep. It's right under. Right back in the water he goes. Alright, on that last fish, I'm just gonna talk about what I'm seeing and what I noticed on the first stop here and what I'm fishing here. Let me show you. So what I'm fishing is this little wire, and all these marinas have different wires and things going underneath, and crappie will hold on to them sometimes. That last one was right on the very bottom, and usually those bottom fish are your bigger fish. Now there's a couple other good marks about the same size holding right onto that wire. Then you have some smaller fish outside. These probably bluegill, but these right there are probably crappie. So we're going to try to pinpoint them. After a rain, these fish will hold tight to cover. So this is a little bit different than fishing a pre-frontal system. It's already rained, so the surface temps have dropped, and they're holding tight. If you don't know if you noticed on that wire, that little bitty wire, they're holding tight to that wire. So I'm gonna be looking for fish tight to cover, and see if they're going to be a little bit active since we have another front coming through. All right, let's get to it. All right, guys, we are fishing visible structure. I've caught some big crappie off of these big old poles out here before. There's a couple of these markers like this. You get good current through them usually because they're off the channel. They're out here when normally there's not stuff out here. There are some good marks in there. And these are easy to find, so anybody can fish these things. They hold a lot of bluegill too, so I see bluegill here, but I see some big fish too, so even if these aren't bluegill, I'd like to catch one of them. They're a little bit bigger. These look like crappie right here, mixed in with the bluegill. If you're wondering, that is what it looks like on the scope. Turn for you. You can see fish swimming around there. There's a big one right there, right below us. Some big ones down deep, so I'm gonna hold it right there. I can get them to bite. There it is. Yep, and that's why we come out here. Look at that. When I say I catch some good ones off these things, this is what I mean. Oh, gal skinny. Make sure I'm recording here. Pretty fish. This one is 14 or not. Easy trigger. Don't be mad. I'll put you right back. 14, a little over 14, 14 and a quarter. All right, get back down there. Thing is, that's not the biggest. That is actually not the biggest mark I saw down there. So I'll see if we can get back in there and get something else. So I don't know if you see, I am right up on that. When you get these, you get a heavy rain like that we did last night, these fish will hold tight to cover and you can get a little bit of forgiveness. I mean, I'm coming right up here on them, and normally a lot of times that would not work at all. Something I want to show you real quick while I can see it. A lot of people miss these bottom dwellers. Let me see if I can get in here and show you. So a lot of people miss these fish right here on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that or not. He's just swimming right there. Let me go deeper. He's barely moving right there. You can see it right there. Just barely moving on the bottom. Back and forth. A lot of times those are good fish. So don't miss out on these out here on the bottom. Again, I am right on this. So before I had my Ultra-X where you can spot lock, that's bluegill, I would often tie off the stuff and just vertically fish like this. There we go. There we go. Good little bluegill right there. So these ain't all bluegill, but that'd be a good eater right there. Just right at good eating size. All right, let's do our little mid-trip take here. What had happened was, what's happening is I was planning on fishing in between two fronts. It rained last night, cleared up, and then it was supposed to be clear for a few hours, and then another system was supposed to move in. which would be not a pre-frontal condition, but in between. I was trying to hit them while they were feeding in between these two fronts. However, the fish were acting more post-frontal. Tight to cover. I just thought that was because it rained so much last night. They're not really schooled up that big. They're kind of individual. I've been picking one off here and there. Now the fish have been good. The ones I've caught have all been 12 or above. So it's been good fish, but it's just been bouncing from one piece of cover to the other, which is typical of a post-frontal condition sometimes when you, unless you can hit some of the bigger schools. I did find some big schools up in the marinas. I couldn't get to them, but they were schooled up pretty tight underneath in that shade area, which another thing right now would be good, and I might try it here in a minute. I'm gonna check a couple docks up here and see if they're holding tight up underneath these docks, which sometimes is common after a storm. But the fish were acting very much post-frontal, and turns out this system that the radar was predicting, that was being predicted to come through at about 8 o'clock, is not going to come through. So the fish probably got the memo before I did, apparently. But so it kind of switched up what I was wanting to do. So you have to adapt when that happens. I had a plan of how I wanted to fish, what I was expecting. I expect them to be up in these stake beds pretty thick. Most of the things I've checked, they've not been up in those beds. So I'm going to switch over to natural cover, more main channel, and then I'm going to look at some docks and see what happens. All right, let's see if we can salvage this trip. This looks a little bit better. Let's see if I don't spook them. See, I'm already moving. So I'm not going to come up on the trolling motor. I'm going to keep off to the side. Try to cast out to it. I don't know if I cast it far enough. Too far out. But if I can see it that far out, that's a good sign. There are a lot of fish in this one, which I haven't been finding. I'm a little bit, I'm about the same depth. I'm about 17 foot. Now, I just realized I accidentally came over one bed, which I did not mean to do. Trying to get to this one. So, I messed up my backup option. Let's hope this option works. I'm right in it. I'm not going to watch the scope. I'm just going to try to swing through and fill it. Now, problem of swinging through without getting bites is it'll pull fish out away from the structure. There we go. That's a pretty good one right there. But it'll pull fish out away from the structure. Oh, that's why it's so good. Look at there. So, double rig. Talking about double rig. I don't think that top one's a keeper, that bottom one is. We'll look and see, but two at a time. We finally found a good school. Finally found a good school here. Let's get a picture. My neater picture. I don't think that top one's gonna keep. We'll just we're not keeping them anyways, but I just want to see for record purposes. So sometimes with the double rig, the purpose of the double rig is not necessarily catch two at a time. That's not my main purpose. Let's go ahead and measure this one and get in the water. I'm pretty sure this one, well, that is not what I wanted to do. Pretty sure this one's a keeper. He's 11 and a half. That's 11 and a half one. Which this one might actually be a keeper. He's probably 9. Let's be careful not to mess his eye up here. Alright. So let's look. He's close. About 9 and a half. Not quite a keeper, so that's one throwback so far. Quick one. So 5 keepers. So that's not the purpose of the double rig, catching 2 at a time. That's not my purpose of fishing the double rig, but it is nice when it happens. So we found a decent school. One of the things I was saying is when you get to a school like this, you got to be careful swinging through it. especially when you cast at a distance. I'm staying about 25 foot off right now. You swing through without getting a bite. Sometimes you'll pull out the fish away from the cover, and then they'll scatter more. And they're going to scatter as you catch them too. But so sometimes when you get a mixed bag like this, crappie will push off to the bottom. I like pulling them off the bottom anyways. A lot of times they're bigger. Stand the risk of getting hung up though. See if these guys on the bottom want to play. Little one does. Let's see what the big one does. Yep, there we go. So I got it on the bottom, which typically is a bigger fish, and it is a crappie. And that is keeper 2. He's probably about 10 and a half, maybe 11. Alright, so when I'm talking bottom fish, if you look at the very base there, that fish came right out of here, and he's a little bit bigger. So sometimes when you get them mixed in there, a mixed bag special, those crappie will be on the bottom. Now I pulled the ones off the top, and I noticed some of them scattered. Some of those bigger marks left. Those little marks stayed, which are bluegill. I caught one. There might be a crappie right there too. There might be a couple of little fish. That looks more like a crappie though. We'll drop in and see. There's another one on the bottom too, right there. So, still got a couple here. There's another bed that I'm going to check out that I accidentally went over. So we're a good 30, 35 foot away here. Hopefully you can see that. Now there's a big glare on it. Stand in front of it on this side. Good 30, 35 foot away. I want to ease up. A little bit better school in here. Try this again. Don't cast out, swing through. Already got a looker. Got a lot of attention. Yeah. There we go. There we go. It's a crappie. I don't know if that's a keeper or not. Put him on board and see. We're not keeping them today. I'm just for statistics. I'm pretty sure that's a 9-inch fish. So it's 2 non-keepers, 2 throwbacks, which leaves us 6 keepers. Well, you greedy little fella. I don't know if you see that. There's a tournament let out. He had 2 of my mandas in his mouth. I don't know if you can see them floating away over there. It's another 9-inch fish. Thought that was you, Jake. It's like, it looks like loving good over there. Y'all doing Tuesday Night Thunder? Good. Not bass fishing in a while, so. Yeah, there's a lot of beds in. There's about 4 or 5 like bucket beds out here. I always enjoy seeing former students out and about, and it's really great when you get to see them out on the water. I wanted to include this little section here just so I could talk about school fishing teams. Our county has 3 different high school fishing teams alone. And the coaches are volunteers. They do a lot of work and do a great job with these kids, getting them out on the water, teaching them conservation. They do a lot of lake cleanups and things. So there's anything you can do to support, if you have a local high school team out there, if there's anything you can do to support them, do it, because they do a really great job of getting these kids out of the water. Also, support these local fishing stores, because all the ones in this area, like Stinted Outdoors, Dunmore, Bait and Tackle, McGee Outdoors, Big Fish Outfitters, all these places do a lot of donations and things, put their time and money to help these teams get out on the water and just enjoy what they do. A little bit further than that. All right, come on, that's a good size one right there. There we go. Got that one, that's good. Yep. Yes, sir. Let's fix that. I think he's probably 12. Let's look and see. Hey, you're gonna hurt yourself, buddy. Don't hurt yourself. 12 inches. Yeah, they're good. Looks about 11 or 12 too. I'm not gonna measure him, just throw him back. He's about the same size as that last one. We're at 15. 10 keepers. Yeah, 12 incher. Good fish, good keeper. All right, guys, we are winding down. So you can see the sun's starting to set. It's clear that direction, starting to get cloudy back in this direction. The weather did not do what it was supposed to do, what it was predicted to do. I was trying to hit in between fronts, and sometimes when you get in that situation, it's a short window, but the fish will really turn on and you can load the boat quick, and that's what I was trying to do. However, the weather's going to do what the weather's going to do. That front did not come through the way it was supposed to, and so we ended up with a pretty nice day, which means I got to fish a little bit longer than I planned, which was great. But it was a post-frontal bite, so I had to make an adjustment about midway. And the interesting thing is the fish were totally post-frontal. Like, they knew what the weather was doing. I guess they could feel that pressure, and they were locked close to the cover, which was expected, but they were spread out a little bit more than I thought they would be. And so I had to adjust and move to spots where I knew there were several beds that I could hit and just bounce from one to the other and catch 2 or 3 fish off a bed and keep moving. And almost scratched out a limit, got 12 keepers, 17 total. Now, of those 12, none of them were 10-inch fish. They were all 12 to 14-inch fish. Now, no big bruisers or anything. 14 and a quarter, I think, was the biggest fish, and a couple 13s. But you know, a decent bag if we were tournament fishing. Best 7 would have made a decent bag, not a winning bag, but you know, a competitive bag. But you have to be able to adjust, especially it's Tennessee, it's summer. Anywhere in the South in the summer, that weather's going to be a little bit unpredictable. I was hoping for more school duck fish and to come out here and just kill it, but they're a little bit more lockjaw than expected. So you got to adjust, and that's part of fishing. If you come out with a plan, and you got to adjust to the conditions that are out here. The biggest difference, I think, too, we had the temperatures have dropped to about 70 degrees, the surface temps. I thought that would make them a little bit more active, but I think with that high pressure, they put them really tight to the brush. So still, we did okay. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to comment. I'll try to respond. Just hit the comments below. If anything you'd like to see, send me a message, or just hit the comments. So we're going to wrap it up, try to get in before the storms do actually arrive, and put the boat up, get home, and take a shower. And there's my cue right there. I don't know if you heard that thunder. All right, we're going to get off here. Till next time, guys, keep chasing that limit.